I'm very confused. I just need a chance to think things over.
You've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few minutes more gonna do you now?
Stay away from me. Please. Don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me.
Wendy,
Stay away.
darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in.
Ooh, that always creeps me out, that music. But anyway, we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But welcome to the MMO Radio Podcast Show, and that stands for Movie Markout. I'm Popcorn Pete, along with my partner in crime,
Vinnie the Vault.
and today, Vinny, we are going to be talking about one of the greatest novelists of all time.
That's true. That's
One of the
true.
greatest authors, whether it be horror, whether it be drama, and we're going to be discussing some of his films, and we're talking about none other than Stephen King,
That's right. The master of it himself.
the master himself, and we're going to talk about some movies that were either a hit or a miss in the movies.
And I guarantee you, even though we've kept our list to a certain level, there are ultimately more misses than there are hits.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
I don't think his books can be truly translatable into film.
Because, I mean, honestly, Stephen King, total genius.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not his fault that a lot of these movies failed.
No, not at all.
I mean, you give the wrong director a script, and somewhere down the line, you're going to watch the movie and be like, well, thank you, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, because you totally fucked up that story for us.
And it's not only just the directors. The studio gets a hold of the title, and it's like, well, we own the title. We can do whatever we want, and this is the direction we're going in.
Which has pissed off Stephen King in the past.
Oh, yes, and he's quite verbal about it.
And
he's actually had his name removed from some films, and a few that are on the list.
Okay, and we will talk about that. But we're going to start off with the hits, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
I can go first.
Okay, that's
I can go
fine.
first. Okay, the first one at the top of my list is Creepshow.
Great movie.
Yes.
Loved it.
Considering at the time all the special effects, well, not all the special effects were practical. Some were borderline digital back in the 80s. But majority of it was all practical effects.
Yeah, by Tom Savini.
Yep.
Master effects makeup artist.
Yep.
And, 5 short stories. And, I'm not going to go through all the list of the actors and actresses there.
No.
Because we'd be here till tomorrow.
Yep.
But, just great movie.
Yeah, I think the stories written by King and fleshed out by Romero, I think that works out so well that it's unmistakable that it's a hit.
It was a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, you got to check it out, because, I mean, it's 3 short stories, but the thing is, you're never bored.
No, not at all. Even with the sequel, which wasn't as good as the original, but
Right.
even there, you're not bored.
No, you're not bored. I mean, the sequel wasn't as good as the original,
Right.
but still, I mean, top of his game.
Oh, yes, very much so.
All right, my turn. Let's see. Carrie,
Okay.
starring Sissy Spacek,
Yes.
Uh,
Sissy Spacek, Amy Irving.
Amy
I
Irving,
believe.
and then she went off and married Spielberg. So,
Right. But she came back for the horrible sequel, Carrie 2.
oh, that's right, she did have
She
a
did.
part in that.
Yeah, she did come back for that, which was no help.
Boo.
Yeah, and the other big star, well, later to be a big star, was John Travolta.
Absolutely, great movie about this misunderstood girl who was picked on in high school, and then she finds out that she's got telekinetic powers.
Yep.
And then, well, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what to tell you, but one of the disturbing things about the movie, I'm going to bring this up, I don't care.
All right, go ahead.
I'm Popcorn Pete. But one of the scariest things about Carrie
Yeah.
was the beginning of the movie,
Okay.
the shower scene,
Yeah.
where all the girls are in the locker room,
Yeah.
taking a shower and whatnot.
Yeah.
And back then, it was the 70s,
Yeah.
so I guess girls back then didn't use razors as they should have. But I mean, there was enough wool in that movie to knit a sweater. I'm telling you.
So is that your problem with the movie?
No. Great movie. Great movie.
Just somebody should have brought a Bic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're looking for authenticity, not fanfare.
Well, I get that, but I mean...
No, I'm mistaken. That's called fan service.
No, fan service.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I have no problem with it. I think as a first film coming out of the gate and a first book for him, I mean, that is amazing.
Huge success.
Huge success. I mean, you can see why later in the years that every book before it was even published, as soon as the title was released, the studios were picking them up.
Oh, they jumped all over
Oh
it.
yeah, and then once he had released Night Shift. I'm sorry, and they started picking apart the short stories,
Right.
and turning short stories into big films, which had no right to be.
But some of those short stories that were turned into big films were huge.
Some of them were crap.
And we'll get to that.
Yes, I can come up with two off the top of my head.
If you'd like, go for it right now, or do you want to do this later?
No, let's keep going with what.
Okay.
All right, we're still talking about Carrie, so
Yeah, great movie.
yeah,
Movie.
yeah, no,
Great cast.
And I think De Palma was at the top of his game with that, and I think he got a lot of work after that because of how good Carrie came off.
Right.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Carrie was nominated for a Best Picture,
I believe so.
and at that time, horrors didn't win
No.
Best Picture, so all it was basically was, hey, we're admitting that you did really good, but we're not going to give you the award.
Because you made a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing later on in years. They did the same thing to other films, but all right. So, you got anything else to say about Carrie?
Just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, please. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend the sequel, or not the sequel. The sequel
No. The sequel was bad, and the remake was bad. Just anything
that's-
after Carrie
sucked.
sucked.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say about that. All right. My next one is going to be a little bit debatable for you, at least.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
My next one is It. Okay, hold on. I enjoyed the first one, the TV miniseries.
Miniseries,
Okay,
yes.
I enjoyed that for what it was, for the time that it was made, and that it was made on television. It was rather good.
Right.
And considering it was on television, there are some pretty good horror pieces in that the censors let get through.
Right. I mean, but like you said about that, I mean, there's things that you necessarily couldn't get away with years ago.
Oh yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, you can get away with a lot.
Well,
a lot more.
hence you bring in the first half of the It story was a theatrical release. There was a lot more that they could do with the story that had not been done before that they were able to do now.
Right. But which would you recommend?
Which would I recommend?
Would you recommend the remake or?
If you really like horror,
Right.
I would recommend the remake.
Okay.
If you're looking for something just to give you a little bit of jump in the night, you can go with the original.
Which clown do you think was creepier?
Oh, the new one.
Absolutely.
The new one is a lot creepier than the old.
But Tim Curry's portrayal.
Yep. Nope. That's fine. All right. Let's hold on just 1 second. All right, we're back. I'm sorry about that. We had a small problem with the computer. It wasn't recording. No, you were saying about...
These things happen.
Yep, these things happen. No, like you were saying about Tim Curry, I think he did a great job, but I think what Bill Skarsgård, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Skarsgård.
I think so.
What he did in the new one, I think far outweighs what Curry did in the original.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that was just all around creepy. And Chapter 2's coming out.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We just watched the trailer for it. You've seen it for the first time.
Absolutely, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be creepy.
Yep. Now, while you were getting ready to start this, I found the video of somebody showing the trailer part 2 to his 2 bulldogs sitting in the living room, and
Absolutely riot. It was a riot.
so if you want to see it, it's called Bulldog Reaction to It Chapter 2, and just watching the reaction of the bulldogs, you know this movie is going to do good, and from what we could see, dogs are giving it 2 paws up.
Oh, absolutely. 4 for gore.
4 for gore. Okay, that's it. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, I mean, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of either the TV series or the remake.
Okay.
But I mean, just watching that trailer,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, this is one of those things that you can't say the movie sucks unless you've seen the whole thing. And this is
Right.
the second half. You can't say you didn't like the first one if you've never seen the whole thing. It might have just been the first part of the movie, first part of the story that you really didn't like, but it got better later on.
Right.
So you've got to wait and give it a whole shot across the board.
I'll give it a whole shot across the board, but for now, I'm just gonna stick to my guns and be like, it was all right,
Okay.
but I'll wait for the second half of the show.
Okay. Sure. Okay. That's reasonable. Okay. Your next one.
All right, Christine,
Yes.
which I thought was an amazing movie.
It was. I love the movie.
I loved it too, and you have director John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
How can you go wrong? John Carpenter, Stephen King.
And it's tough to think about it after the fact that he wasn't the first choice for that role to direct that film.
Now, who was exactly? I don't know.
I have no idea because all I know is that he was the third choice of directors for that film.
I think they made the right choice.
I think they eventually made the right choice, but that was it.
But I mean, just like some of the special effects that they made in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, without the CGI that they have today.
Oh, it's amazing considering that they went through, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 25, 30 cars.
Yes.
They went out and found 30 cars that looked just the same, painted them all the same color, and destroyed almost every single one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, and who does that nowadays?
They don't, because they just do it CGI.
Yeah, they're
and
like, fuck it.
That's the end of it.
But I mean, imagine if they were to remake Christine today.
It wouldn't be as good. It would be horrible.
You think
Because
so?
everything would be CGI'd. Every little thing. They'd find one car to make sure they got all the dimensions correct.
Right.
And then destroy 30 cars in the computer. That's all they would do. They wouldn't do anything. They'd have the one car for somebody to sit in, and that's it.
Right.
But the way studios are now, they'd even do that green screened.
This is true.
Yep.
Everything's green screen nowadays.
Yep.
and CGI. But I think that's one of the lost arts of making movies.
Yep.
Because
It'll come back when the nuclear bomb goes off and everything electrical is wiped out. We're gonna have to go back to practical effects.
that's gonna suck.
Why? The effects in movies will be great. We'll have all these movies thought out years before we get any electricity back. But yeah.
Yeah, but we'll all be going to the movie theater looking like the Toxic Avenger. So anyway.
Hey, that's why all my equipment is shut down at night, just in case it happens while I'm sleeping. I'll have all my equipment working.
That's a good idea. Good idea. Good idea. Anything else you want to say about
For Christine, I think one of the biggest things is they don't talk about the car or the music in this movie as being characters part of the story, which they are.
Absolutely.
The car is a big part of this.
And
because
as the movie, the music.
Yes. The music makes it even creepier, and the whole point of the music is you're not supposed to ever know if Arnie is in the car or not, because
Right.
you're never supposed to know if the car is alive or not. But there are parts like when Arnie sees the car come into the garage, things like that. He's not in it. Obviously, there's some kind of a spirit. But there are other times that things are happening, and he has to be in the car in order to know exactly what's happened.
Right. But a lot of things that pisses people off about Stephen King movies is like, you didn't stay true to the book.
Well, there's a lot of parts in the book that are all inside people's minds, internal dialogues, things like that drive the story, which is great on page, but you can't do that on film.
Right.
Very few narratives have ever worked in good movies. We're going to actually kind of come up to one of the best ones that actually works out in, but it's just one of those things. It's part of what doesn't work in a movie compared to what has worked in book.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Okay.
But great movie.
Yes, great movie. Okay, my next one, The Dead Zone, with Christopher Walken.
Very good. Very
Yes.
good.
I think, above all, this is one of Christopher Walken's best films.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree.
I mean,
Great role for him.
Yeah, I think this didn't do well in the theater because it wasn't what people were looking for at that point. But big Stephen King fans will know that out of all the films out there, this is one of the few that have stayed true to the book.
So, in your opinion, would you say that was the closest?
To the book related movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would say that if you're looking to say, how far off is Lawnmower Man from the original story, which I will get to later.
Oh, yeah.
Lawnmower Man is so far away from the story, it's as if the book was written here on Earth and the movie was shot on Mars.
I agree.
And all they knew was the title of the book.
Right.
That was it. That's all that has to do it. With Dead Zone, I'd say they filmed it here on the planet around the same time that the book came out. Which, if I'm not mistaken, the book came out not shortly before the movie was actually filmed and released. I believe it was around the same time.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but
But I mean, other than that, I mean, he's hinted at this story in other stories. Part of which was in Cujo, in the book. Well, I mean, even in the movie, they sort of lead you to believe that there's a ghost in the little boy's closet, and I think he even talks about it, and the father opens the closet to prove that there's nothing there. Supposedly, in the book, that is the ghost of the serial killer from the Dead Zone, because this is all supposed to be around Castle Rock.
And this is why I'm teaming up with Vinnie the Vault, because he knows his history, ladies and gentlemen.
But other than that, if you want a true book to movie, I think this would be where to start.
The closest one.
The closest one to start with.
Absolutely. Okay. My next pick is Misery.
Okay, very good.
Loved it.
Yep.
Absolutely loved it. Not many characters in the movie, but that's okay. Because, I mean, it was just so well told, and like we talked about before, there's going to be certain aspects in the book that are going to be, not the same
Right.
in the movie.
Right, but I mean, the thing with Misery was that you had an outstanding director,
Absolutely.
you had two outstanding actors, and the story was so strong. You would have to have been a fool to screw around with the original story in order to get it across. I mean, there were some things tweaked here and there
That were different.
which is no big deal because it doesn't take anything away. But it's all down to that one room, really, in the entire story. And it was, at the time it came out in the theater, I had made the comment that this would be a great one-act play. You could use two people, don't have to do anything else, and then years later, they actually turned it into a play, and I saw it, and it's outstanding on the stage as well as on the screen.
And I was actually going to go see that
Oh, really?
at the same theater that you went to see.
Yeah,
that.
wow.
But yeah, just a all-around incredible movie, and just the performance by the actors and actresses, incredible.
I think it truly showed that James Caan had teeth in his later years as an actor. And I think Kathy Bates, yes, that was one of her early roles, if not her first. And
She won an award for it.
yeah,
The Academy Award.
launched that out of the park.
Absolutely. But yeah,
And Rob Reiner as the director, I mean, that was it's sometimes it's hard to see what the director adds to the film. But having two great actors like that in one little room, he kept the tension building. He kept the props moving around, so it was like, this is, you got to make sure this is in reach so this person can reach it. Doing all these different things, it's up to him to make sure that these two people stay on track and just keep going with it. And I think he does a wonderful job with that.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned the play, because I actually went to one of the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, Fangoria magazine, and they were doing a thing with talking about Misery and the guys that did the special effects.
Right, yes.
And they were sitting there talking and everything. They're like, okay, you know, Rob Reiner and everything, he's coming in. He's like, oh, I don't want this much blood in the movie. And then once they started doing the special effects, Rob Reiner just kept yelling, okay, we need more blood. We need more blood. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, now it's you.
I thought I just went.
No, oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so the next one on my list, which we'll have a discussion about, is The Shining.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, first of all, let's see, how do we put it? The first one is better at suspense
Absolutely.
than the remake. I think the remake gets it closer to the book than the first one.
Right.
I think Jack Nicholson's portrayal as Jack Torrance far outshines anything else.
Absolutely.
So we're not even going to talk about that.
No, we don't have to.
But my other thing is that I think Rebecca De Mornay plays a better. What's the Torrance? I can't remember the wife's name.
Yeah.
But
I know her.
I think she plays it better than Olive Oil.
Shelley Duvall. Yes.
I knew what her name was. I was willing to call her Olive Oil for later reference.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree.
But when you put it all together, the first one actually outweighs the second in the way of suspense and things like that.
And it was more creepier.
Oh yes, most definitely.
I think the TV miniseries that Stephen King wanted to do, because he hated
the first one. Yes,
he hated it.
Well, that's because Kubrick took the script and basically threw it to the wind and said, "I'm making the movie I want to make."
Right. Which
is in some ways only 30% of what King would have had.
Right. I mean, but you know, that's what you got to deal with when you're dealing with directors sometimes.
Well, it also has to do with the studio sitting there going, "Well, we own it. We do what we want."
Right.
So.
But I just thought the miniseries was kind of drawn out.
It was, and that's why. I think you just get more of a reaction out of the original, because there were changes made from the original story.
Right.
I mean, I can understand King's reasoning for hating it. It's not his story at all.
Right.
But you got to look at some of the things that were done right. The ending was changed.
Right.
I mean, it sets it up great now for the sequel that's going to be coming out. I think they're going to start filming that soon, if they're not already started. Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep.
Yep.
Which is the story of Danny, basically.
Right. It's Danny living with the fact that he thinks he's going crazy because of his father's background.
Because my dad's fucked up.
Well, no. What it is he's fighting alcoholism, and he thinks he's crazy because his father went crazy. See, this follows the original storyline and not what you had to see in the Kubrick version.
Right.
So, but that's neither here nor there, because that movie hasn't been made yet. So
right.
We'll talk about that after.
But I mean, like a lot of times, like the books are so long. I mean, you have to cut things here and there.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you there are some books out there that are over 3,000 pages long, and they make a movie from the middle part.
Right.
And then they wonder why the movie sucked. Well, you didn't give them any of the beginning part of the story and didn't give them the end. That's why it sucked.
Right.
Okay, so next one.
Okay, and I'm sure I'm going to have issues with you.
With me.
On this one.
Okay.
But I thought it was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it,
Okay.
unlike some of the other ones.
What is this, your wedding video or something?
Yeah,
Come on.
it is. Shut up.
I didn't know Stephen King did your wedding.
Well,
That's another discussion.
yeah, that's another discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Needful Things.
Needful Things was a good film. It wasn't great, but it was still good.
But
It was enjoyable.
It wasn't one of those, oh, I hate this.
No, not at all. It's just that you have it. It's another one of those. I think it's a 500-page story,
Right.
and you turned it into an hour-and-a-half movie. There are lots of things that probably would have helped that story along that had to be cut out.
True. But the thing I like about it is it hits so close to home.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you look at society,
Oh yes.
and then, in a matter of minutes, one person can turn on another person
Right.
from somebody else, encouraging them or talking shit.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, that's the basis of the storyline.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. To me, it's a story about, it's a horrific story about consumerism. Because the only reason they do any of these things,
It's because they want something.
right,
I get that.
and it's not, I want you to do this or I want you to do that. I want something material. I
Right.
want the baseball card. I want the statue. I want, it's something. So it's more about consumerism.
No, true.
True.
But it just goes to show, like, Madonna said it right, material girl, material things. And, people want things. And, if they get a bargain for it, sometimes they'll do needful things.
Yes, and the ultimate thing about the story is the next time you go to a flea market or a yard sale, be damn careful about what you're saying you really want, because it could come with a price.
Yeah, it could.
Now,
It could.
the person that I think stands out in this story, who doesn't have the complete screen time that I think he should, is Max von Sydow as the devil.
Oh, he was great.
He was great, but I don't think they give him enough screen time to really bring that across. I mean, he does a bit
Yeah, he does, but you don't think that they gave him enough screen time?
to flesh out more of the devil. I think they could have pushed it a little bit further.
But I mean, even though you don't necessarily know he's the devil, you're like, wow, this guy's an evil fucking bastard.
But okay, let's be real about this. If you knew about this film, you were a Stephen King fan.
Right, but
Okay, no. Let me finish.
Okay.
If you knew about this film, you were a Stephen King fan.
Right.
So if you were a Stephen King fan, you most likely read the story beforehand. You knew he was the devil.
But what I'm talking about is, what about the people who haven't seen the movie?
You should have been able to tell he was the devil.
Well, we all know now, don't we?
The movie was from the early to mid '90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hey,
Yeah, I mean, you should.
we could have some younger listeners out there. You never know.
We should, but not with the way things are going at the moment.
Ouch.
Ouch for who? Who's ouch? I don't know. Ouch. All right. Did anything else you wanted to say about Needful Things?
I just thought it was very well done, and it just, the thing that fascinated me was like how quickly people would turn on somebody. But the thing that I liked is it would be people that would turn on other people who hadn't done them any wrong.
Right. Well, they were being coaxed by the devil.
Yeah, and it was a big circle, like,
Yeah.
okay, you go fuck with her, you go fuck with him, you go fuck with this one.
Right, and then he's going to think it's this one over here, and that one's going to think it's that one there, which is how the devil works.
It was great.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay. Let's see, my next one. Okay, my next one, I'm not sure how you'd feel about it.
Okay.
Again, there was a remake, which I didn't like. Salem's Lot. It even had a sequel that I didn't like.
Yeah, the original I liked.
Yeah.
The part at the window with the creepy little kid. and
Oh yeah,
everything.
floating in the window, scratching at the pane. Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that as a kid, you're like, ah, and you freak the fuck out. But yeah, that was good. But the one with Rob Lowe,
No, and
nah.
like I said, they did a remake. I think it was called The Return to Salem's Lot.
Yes.
Which was horrible. It had nothing to do with the story. It supposedly went back to Salem's Lot, which hence the title, where the town were all vampires, and it was basically the politics of running the town, which was horrendous. Considering we were shown at the end of the original Salem's Lot that they killed them all.
Well, I'm glad I missed that one. And,
Oh, that's a good one you missed too.
well.
But trust me, it was an hour and a half you saved on your life.
Well, here's the thing. When we're talking about Stephen King movies, hits or misses, the misses are the ones that I missed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like a lot of Stephen King movies, and then after a while you just get so disappointed, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother.
Right.
I'm
Yes,
not
I
gonna waste my
understand.
time.
I understand that.
I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah, that's. I mean, after the '80s, it was hard to find people that would, friends that would want to go to see a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
It was like, really?
Hey, I'm
after
gonna-
the last one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see this movie. You want to come with me? No. I'll pay for the popcorn. No.
But yeah, no, I think considering it was a TV movie,
Very well done.
considering it was the mid '70s,
Absolutely.
it was amazing that they did what they did and how they did it. Again, all the practical effects that they could have gotten away with in '70s television
Right.
worked out beautifully.
It was spectacular back then.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. My next one is not so much horror or anything like that, but it's The Running Man.
Oh my God.
Oh, here we go. Now,
Talk about a movie that has nothing to do with the book that the story that it was drained off of.
I get that.
The only thing about that movie that has anything to do with Stephen King's book,
Is the title?
well, the title, but that it's a game show. That's it. Nothing else in that story happens.
Okay, I agree with you.
In
But
fact, I think that was one of the movies that he had his name removed from.
yeah, he used his other name that
No,
Richard-
no. I'm talking about the book, Richard Bachman.
Yes.
Is that right? But I'm talking about Stephen King's name is not attached to The Running Man. The
But
movie itself, there is no. I believe Stephen King had his name removed from that.
Right. But all in all, I enjoyed it as a movie. I thought it was a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. It's a fun Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
Because he's got his one stupid liners and oh my
and
god.
that's it.
But you didn't enjoy it? You can't
No,
tell
I'm
me
not
you
saying
didn't
I'm
enjoy
not saying
it.
I didn't enjoy it. We're talking about Stephen King movies.
Right.
This is not this is a Stephen King movie, okay? But it's a horrible Stephen King movie. And I'll in case you didn't hear me, I said horrible.
Okay, because it didn't.
It had nothing to do with Stephen King.
Okay. All right. My bad. Excuse me. I fucked up. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying you fucked up. I'm saying I enjoyed the film. I think it's a wonderful sci-fi film. I think it's great that Arnold was able to find another movie that he could literally tear apart and make his own.
I dug it.
No, I dug it too.
was-
I think Richard Dawson is a great villain. I think he should have gone on and done other things.
No, didn't he get fired because of that?
No, I think at that point he wasn't working
So-
on Family Feud.
So he was just like, oh, the hell with it. I'll make this movie.
Yeah.
Because I heard rumors that because of that movie and he was using foul language and everything.
No,
like,
I don't think that had anything to do with it. I believe at the time he had already left Family Feud, and this was, I don't know if it was his first offer for a movie, but this was one of his first, and I think he does great as the villain.
Oh, he's a total prick
Oh yeah,
or asshole, which was our last show.
it should have made the last show.
We should have talked about
He
it.
should have made the last show.
But anyway, you're up.
Okay, well since we're talking about films that are probably gonna piss the other one off,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna like this one.
Okay.
And I honestly, I don't know why. If you like The Running Man.
Okay.
Okay, Maximum Overdrive.
Ah. Come on.
For a first-time director, I think it was great.
Okay. don't get me wrong, I didn't hate the movie.
Okay, so you didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it,
Okay.
but I thought it was silly.
Okay.
And it was almost like a Christine ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
But you had Emilio Estevez in there, and
Could I make one point?
oh, here we go.
No. It's only a small point.
Mm,
The story Trucks, which this is based off of,
right.
which was, I believe, turned into a TNT movie called Trucks.
Never seen it.
It's another one. It didn't make my list either way, but I don't really think too much about sequels and remakes.
Mm-hmm.
The story Trucks was part of the Night Shift trilogy, Night Shift story book
Okay.
with all the short stories.
Right.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, this story was written before Christine, which means Christine is a ripoff of Trucks.
Yeah, but he is both written by Stephen King.
They're both written by Stephen King, but you said
So he's
that
ripping
you-
off
but-
himself.
But which way is he ripping off? You just said that Trucks, Maximum Overdrive was a ripoff of Christine.
Well, that's what I felt like it was like.
Oh,
I mean, I get that he wrote both of them, but it was
no. I'm saying he wrote Trucks, which is Maximum Overdrive,
before
first,
Christine.
before he wrote Christine.
I get that.
So it's not it's not a ripoff of Christine.
Okay, but Christine was a better product.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm just saying I liked it more than you.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
That's fine. That's why everybody has their own opinions about different movies, and that's why we're discussing these things.
Right.
We talk about what you like, we talk about what I like, and
Right.
then I show you what I don't like, and you show me what you don't like, and then I
Right.
tell you why you're wrong, and you tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm always wrong and he's always right. Okay.
I didn't say I was right. I said, wait.
You did.
wait,
Da.
do you want to play it back?
Can
It's-
we?
It says.
Can you?
It says you were wrong, and I show you when I was wrong. But we usually find out that I was right and you were wrong. There, I've got it out there. Okay, we'll listen to it back later. All right.
Oh, because what do you call it? Because Maximum Overdrive, aka Trucks, came out before Christine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have that fight settled. All right.
So okay. What about Emilio Estevez didn't you like? Because you were starting to say Emilio Estevez.
And you cut me off, but
Yeah.
that's okay because we're going on to the next movie.
Why can't we finish this one?
What?
It's a movie that I like. It's a movie you don't like. So I want to know what you don't like about Emilio Estevez.
I got nothing against Emilio Estevez.
But you started to say Emilio Estevez.
I did, and then you cut me off, and you're like, wait a minute.
Right, and I made my point, and now we're moving on. So what
Okay.
about Emilio Estevez?
Okay, yeah, he was great in it, and you liked the movie, I didn't. Next!
Okay. All right, the next one, that's you.
Oh, fuck me. All right.
Not at the moment, please.
Come on.
It's not going to make good radio.
No. I don't.
Your next movie.
Okay. The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Awesome.
One of the best prison movies out there.
Awesome.
Also, another one of the greater films with a narrative.
Oh, absolutely. Morgan Freeman was incredible on that movie.
I don't think you would have found a better person to play that role or do the
Right.
voiceover. I'm sorry,
But
it's wonderful.
oh, it's just such a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about this guy who is accused
Mm-hmm.
of killing his wife,
Right.
sentenced to prison,
Mm-hmm.
meets up with some convicts,
Mm-hmm.
becomes friends with them,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually
He escapes.
Well, yeah, you just ruined that, but
Well, you were dragging it out. I was thinking, well, what, is he trying to say something? Well, by that point, we know he escapes.
yeah. So if you haven't seen the movie, then you're a dope.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing is I think that's one of the biggest, most seen Stephen King films, because a lot of people walk away with that not knowing that it was a Stephen King story.
right.
And
Honestly, I gotta say it was one of his best.
true.
Out of anything.
Out of anything, I don't know if it's one of his best, but it's certainly one of the best.
I agree, but just the performance from the actors was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
and it was just one of those, you can't take your eyes off the movie once you're watching it.
Yeah, it's another one of those. You're in this one place. In this instance, it's a prison, but you're in this one place, and you can't go anywhere else to carry this story. You've got to be able to do it within these four walls.
Right. I mean, and you like the characters.
Oh yes.
And you want them to get out of prison and everything, and not necessarily by escaping, but you just want them to be released or whatever the deal may be. But you just fall in love with these characters. Some of them.
Some of them, yes. Some of them are horrendous.
Yeah, some of them total twats.
Oh yeah, and in fact, where they're Stephen King characters, you're hoping that they're going to be killed somewhere along the line.
Right, exactly.
And most of the time, it doesn't happen.
Right, but all around, great prison movie.
Oh yes.
Haven't seen it? Check it out.
Okay, my next one is another narrative.
Okay.
Stand By Me.
Oh,
Again, a movie that most people watched and didn't realize that it was a Stephen King story until they saw the ending credits.
such a great movie. I mean, this is basically, anytime that's on TV, I own it on DVD, obviously, but anytime it's on TV or I get in a bad mood, I'll just put it in because it's a really touching film.
Yeah. Oh yeah, from beginning to end.
Right.
Because all the way to the end, where you see the Gordy character writing the book later on in years, you're still at that point where, oh my God, he's the one that's been telling the story. Because at different points during the movie, you're not quite sure who's telling the story.
Right. But it's just one of those all-around feel-good movies. It's got some depressing parts in it.
Yeah, but that's life. Life has depressing parts in it.
This is true, but just all-around great movie, and highly recommend it. Great cast of, some of them were young unknowns at the time.
At the time, because Will Wheaton was unknown, I believe, at that time. River Phoenix was. If this was an early film for him, was it Corey Feldman?
Yes,
Corey Feldman. And then Jerry
Maguire's kid.
Yeah. Jerry O'Connell.
Yes.
Not Jerry Maguire.
He was in that. He was in that. Got to give me that.
And then it turns out that the whole voiceover is done by Richard Dreyfuss.
Right.
Which you hear his voice and you say, okay, he's doing the voiceover. But then when they shoot the movie at the end, where it's obviously him writing it at the end, it's like, oh wow, big name like that, and he's only in like the last 2 minutes of the film. And there aren't a lot of films that do that. There are a few now that do that, but back then, you never saw
it was unheard of.
A big name that's attached to this movie, got to have him in more than like just the ending. You got to. If we're going to pay this guy, we might as well give him, the screen time.
Now, was he actually advertised?
No.
So it was just like a big surprise.
Yeah, it was a big, but because once it's a voiceover, it's a surprise that it's like, I know that voice, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's Richard Dreyfuss. Figuring all he did was sit in his booth and read the dialogue for the voiceover. Okay, so that's fine. But then when they shoot it ahead, and they actually show you him writing the story that you've just watched, it's like, oh my God, 2 minutes, and this is all the screen time he got.
Yeah, well, I wish I got his payday for just sitting in a room and talking in front of a microphone.
But again, one of the top movies of what Stephen King wrote at the time.
Absolutely, and it was based on a short story. The Body.
No, it was, but The Body was a novella.
Oh, was it?
Yes, because it was part of the book. Oh, God, I can't remember the name of the book, but there were only 4 stories in the book.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about. I can't think of the...
Yeah, but there was the 4 Past Midnight? No, it wasn't 4 Past... Different Seasons.
Yes.
Different Seasons. That's what it was, because there were 4 stories for the 4 seasons.
But still.
But no, but still, it was a huge making of a story of one of his. Okay, let's take a break right here, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, and we're back. So, next one from you.
All right, well, I'm going to have to go with Dolores Claiborne.
Another very good film, and not a horror film.
Not
very
a horror
nice.
film. Not a horror film, but it's a little bit of a, hey, you've been treating me like shit all your life. I'm going to get a little revenge on you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
But, I mean, in the same time, we did the Asshole Show not too long ago. And I consider Dolores Claiborne to be an asshole.
Really?
At some points, yes. Because of the person that she was taking care of.
Yeah.
And, doing all the stuff for her and
Yeah.
everything. And then she became ill and sick and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, just some of the things that she would say to her. And I think that was basically because of the way her husband treated her.
Oh yes, most definitely. It was the her personality coming out at that point.
Right.
It's all the stuff that she wanted to say to her husband. She was saying to her patient.
Right. The one she was caretaking
Yeah.
after. Another thing that was very disturbing about this movie
Okay.
was the fact that the father had a sexual interest in his daughter.
Mm-hmm. Which is one of the reasons why Dolores snapped.
Right. Creepy, but I mean, you can understand why Dolores snapped.
Oh yes.
And
Yeah.
then the person that she was taking care of was like, well, why don't you take care of him?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, just an all-around great story.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful story. Now, if the best part of that story is it actually links up with another Stephen King story.
Of course it does.
Because it's supposed to happen at the same time that Dolores Claiborne's story is happening.
Mm-hmm.
The story in Gerald's Game is happening
Oh.
because there's at one point that Dolores is looking up at the eclipse.
Right.
Okay, that eclipse is happening at the same time that Gerald's wife is handcuffed to the bed. She looks out the window and she can see the eclipse.
No kidding.
Yeah. So those two are actually in the same shared universe.
I didn't put two and two together, but thank you for pointing that out, Volt. And that's why we have you here. But yeah, all around great movie, incredible cast, and like we said before, I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out.
And it's a non-horror film at all. There's nothing in it at all about, other than the murder. There's nothing horrific about the film or the story.
Right, but I mean, there are points in the movie that you feel uneasy.
Oh yeah, but it's not horror.
No, it's not horror.
It's
not horror.
a lot of it is just pointing things out that we already notice on a day-to-day life.
Right.
And it's like it's basically what comedians do. You point out the flaws in somebody, and it's like, well, no, I feel a little uncomfortable about you pointing out flaws about yourself, but there are also flaws that I have.
Right.
It's one of those things, but
And I don't want to admit it, but yeah, here it is. But yeah, I mean, great movie, and yeah,
I don't think there's nothing bad to say about it at all.
absolutely. And Stephen King doesn't necessarily have to just be like the master of macabre.
No.
I mean, he also has written some great drama movies, which we've already covered.
Yep. And this one, and go in fact with the Gerald's Game.
Right.
I mean, I haven't watched any of what, I don't know if it's on A&E or one of the cable networks, but I know they turned it into either a miniseries or a small movie.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but it is on my list of something to watch. But it's just suspense.
Right.
If you actually knew nothing about this movie at all, and you were going to take a shot in the dark, you would have actually put this in the category of like with movies like Alfred Hitchcock had made.
Oh, absolutely.
Rope, Rear Window, Vertigo. It's that kind of film. It's suspenseful and it's storytelling at its best.
And it's not gory or anything
Nope,
like that.
not at all.
But I mean, you want to see people that have done somebody wrong get their dues.
Yes, and you always have that. That's
Yes.
one of the basic things you have in movies or basic storytelling. That somebody who is mad, evil, they get their comeuppance, in the end. It doesn't have to happen at the end of the
Absolutely.
film. It can happen anywhere in the film. But as long as they get taken care of, you walk away satisfied. And this is one of those films.
Yeah, you walk out of the theater with a smile on your face.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so my next one is The Green Mile.
Oh, awesome movie.
Yes.
Awesome movie. Let's talk about it.
Okay, The Green Mile. Another one. You can't say too many bad things about this.
No.
It was a little worrisome that they were going to try to turn this into a movie. Not so much that it was a difficult story to tell. It was just a lot of things happened in your mind as you're reading the story. So it's like, well, how are they going to get this up on the screen? And with Tom Hanks in the lead,
Incredible.
it works across the board excellent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you feel for the guy when he's on the mile and he's going to be dead, and you know the ending.
Right.
You come in knowing that they're going to kill this guy.
But it's one of those characters, once again, that, you don't want to see die.
Right? No. But the thing is you find out in the course of the film that it wasn't him.
Right.
So it's like, okay, they're not going to kill him, and by the end of the film, they're going to figure it out and they're going to let him go.
Right. Release the guy.
Well, this is what Hollywood expects us to figure in these prison films.
Right.
That, okay, you've shown us that he didn't do it. He's being wrongfully accused. He's been wrongly convicted. By the end of the movie, something's going to happen, and it's going to release him.
But fuck it, we're going to kill him anyway.
Yes, and
Fuck it.
that's what happens. And that's one of those great things that they do for a non-Hollywood ending. Hollywood endings to me is like Disney. Everybody's got to be smiling in the end.
Oh, happy ending. Yeah.
Happy endings. That's what Hollywood wants. Hollywood wants happy endings.
But that's not the real world.
Right. And when you get movies like this, that gives you a history of, well, this is what happens. This guy's going to be in prison he's going to be wrongfully accused. We're going to find out along the way it wasn't him, somebody else. This is what's going to happen, and by the end of the movie, he's going to be released, all happy.
Right.
Right. But that's not what happens. In real life, nobody gives a shit.
Pretty much.
And
You hit the nail on the head.
And what happens at the end? They kill him.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is make more films like this that don't have a happy ending, so people don't get, oh, why didn't he live? How come he's not smiling? It's
Why
not
is he dead?
Because that is, if you're smiling every single point of your life, you've got to be kidding me.
No, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, there's something wrong there.
I mean,
So-
as fucked up as it is to
Yes.
say.
Yes, and I don't feel good about saying that, but we want more movies like The Green Mile
Right. Absolutely.
that tell things the way they are in life.
But I mean, it's just an all-around feel-good movie until you get to the end.
Yeah, true.
And the thing I didn't get was like when he opened up his mouth and all the bugs were flying out of his mouth. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Candyman?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are some references to other things in the way they filmed it. But if I remember correctly from the book, that's how they talked about it in the book, that he would open his mouth and it would come out. The disease or whatever he had sucked out of the other people came out of his mouth.
But was it technically bugs or was it like a
I
spirit?
don't remember. I think it was just some cloudy
Mist
mist or something.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Back to you. Are you done with your hit list?
Honestly, yeah, I'm done with the hits.
I'm sorry. Well, then I have one more hit,
Okay.
and you are probably pissed at.
Hit me with your best shot.
The Mist.
Really?
Yes, The Mist.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something about The Mist.
I'm
Okay?
listening.
An outstanding novella. Okay.
Now we're talking novella and we're talking movie.
Right, but I'm telling you, it's outstanding novella.
Okay.
Okay. That did not have an ending. Okay. Now, when they do the movie, okay, they actually gave it an ending.
All right.
Okay. In the book, all you have is them in the car going down the highway. That's the end. Them heading for Boston. Okay.
All right.
In the movie, they have them driving, and then they run out of gas. They didn't get as far as they thought. and they were still in the mist. So it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And then they came up with, well, we have 4 bullets. 4 bullets and 5 people. What are you going to do?
Make a sequel? I don't know.
You shoot 4 people and walk out into the mist yourself, and then you die.
No, screw that.
But
Screw
then,
that.
but then the army showed up and saved him.
But I
So
mean-
he basically shot 4 people for no reason, because if they waited 30 more seconds, the army would be there.
But they didn't know that.
No, they didn't know that. So
That's
let's-
society for you.
Okay, now I liked the film. Now that's what I'm saying. I liked the film.
All right.
Okay, I didn't love it, but I liked it. Okay, it was really good.
Okay.
Okay, let me say that.
All right.
My biggest thing was they gave the story an ending. Wasn't a happy ending. Again, not a happy ending.
Yeah, baby.
And I like that. Okay.
Right.
Now, when it came out on Blu-ray, okay, they gave you an option on the Blu-ray. You can watch it in color, or you can watch it in black and white.
Which is more creepy?
Black and white.
Okay.
It's like watching one of the old black and white 30s horror films.
Like the Creature double feature?
Oh, it makes it so creepy.
Really?
Oh, yes. And there's the part where they go into the pharmacy,
Yep.
where they end up with all the spiders and everything. Watching that in black, white, and gray, oh, it's like watching something from the 40s or 50s.
But I mean, does it definitely make a difference in your
Oh,
opinion?
I think so. I own the Blu-ray. I've watched it probably 5 times.
Mhm.
The only time I've watched it in color is when I saw it in the theater.
Oh, wow.
5 times here, I've watched it in black and white.
Wow.
I would prefer the black and white over the color for that movie, hands down.
Well, that's like the Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
In color. No. Doesn't
What?
work. Doesn't
No,
work.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about The Mist.
Right.
So, what did you think?
I was just giving an example.
Yeah.
Honestly, with The Mist, I wasn't very impressed.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't know which one came out first, but I thought it was kind of like a rip-off of John Carpenter's The Fog.
Oh, The Fog came out a whole lot earlier, but I don't know when The Mist was written.
Right, but I mean, like John Carpenter's The Fog was more like, these sailors on a ship.
The ghosts. The ghosts are on in
I
The
mean,
Mist.
They were ghosts.
Yeah, and they were actually The Mist. That's The Fog.
Right.
That's what they were, because you wouldn't have the sailors there unless you had The Fog.
Right.
This was
This was
The
like
Mist.
a bunch of creatures.
Well, what it basically was the military opened up a gateway to another dimension. And so, in the way the story sounds, is they opened it up a little bit so they could look inside. Couldn't see a lot, so they opened it up a little bit more. And when they opened it up a little bit more, they drew the attention of what was ever nearby.
And all that shit came out.
And
Yeah.
it just plowed through.
Yeah.
And that's why you end up having the mist going all the way down the seaboard.
Right. I mean, I understand you're a fan and everything, and
Yeah.
that's all well and good, but
Yeah.
it was just one of those movies that didn't capture my attention.
Yeah, no. I understand that. And just like some in horror films, they're not everybody's cup of tea.
Absolutely.
But I would guarantee you, I would guarantee you that if you watched it in color, and I mean in black and white, I think you might enjoy it a little bit more if you
more
watched
creepier.
it as an old black and white monster movie.
Right.
I know of a person that didn't like The Mist, and when I got the black and white copy, I said, just give this a chance. Don't have to like it. If you don't like it, 10 minutes into it or 15 minutes, not going to bother me. But give it a chance. He loves it. He can't stand the color version. He'll tell me that.
That's funny.
He can't stand the color, but the black and white, his works.
Right.
And I know other films have done that. They, obviously they've released now in color, but when they go to the Blu-rays or whatever, they give you an alternate version on some films, and I think that's a big thing that these movie companies miss out on.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Okay, so that's the end of my hits list. Okay, so we'll start with the misses. And we're not looking at Little Women.
Cool. All right, so do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. You go
Okay.
first.
I'm gonna go with it was. I bought the comic book version of it,
Okay.
and it's Silver Bullet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the name of the name of the book is Cycle of the Werewolf.
Yes, but
Right. Yeah. No. When you said Silver Bullet, I had a brain fart.
no, it happens.
Yeah. No. I know it.
But
Not the greatest in the world, and I to me there are a lot worse films than that.
oh, true. But I mean, it was just one of those movies like you're watching and you're waiting for something scary to happen and everything, and it was just boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thrown off by it, and I had read the comic book
Uh-huh.
or the
Right. Yeah.
you know what
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like I'm just not digging this. But
Yeah. See, like I said, I enjoy it, but you know,
You don't.
I don't. I enjoy it, but I don't. My biggest thing was that the story had legs. There was a chance that they could really do something with this, okay? Because the original story takes a year to go from beginning to end. Because there's only one full moon, really, a month,
right,
okay? So this book goes 12 chapters
right.
because there's one moon per month.
Yeah,
Yet
exactly.
This, and I mean, I know there's people out there that can say, well, the full moon is actually 3 nights, you know, and the full moon is actually the middle night. The full moon is the middle night.
Depending where you are.
Yeah, but I can understand the reasoning for that. But the beauty of King's story was that he put the full moon, on every holiday. Like the full moon in February fell on Valentine's Day. You know, things like that. In the movie, they try to drag the full moon like 3-4 weeks.
Right.
And it's like there's a full moon almost every single night because he goes out and kills every single night. It's like, how can that possibly be? It doesn't work.
Yeah, you're not a vampire, god damn it.
Yeah, you're a werewolf. We understand the thing about werewolves.
Right. But like I said, I mean, it just, I don't know, maybe it was just the mood I was in, but you know, this sometimes you're watching a movie and you don't, for one reason or another, you can't connect with it.
Yeah.
You just don't get into it.
Yeah.
And-
And you also got to point out that this is one of Gary Busey's films, and this is pre-accident Gary Busey. So I mean, I don't know what you want to say about that, but I'm just saying it was Gary Busey.
And I thought he was fine. Loved him in Lethal Weapon. And
that also is pre-accident.
yeah,
Okay.
so we won't get into Gary Busey, but
Not until at another date.
we could have a show right there.
Yeah, pre and post.
Pre and post.
Pre Gary Busey and post Gary. Well, actually, it's Gary Busey pre-accident and post-accident.
Yeah,
All
get
right.
in now. All right.
All right. So my turn.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the top of my list for bad film for misses.
For bad films?
No, well, actually, yeah, it does. It does come at the top of my bad film list as well.
Okay.
Okay.
For the misses.
Okay, for the misses. Sleepwalkers.
Ugh.
I'm telling you, the only thing that is any good about this story.
Okay. And this is going to be funny because there was a certain death scene, and this is the only part of the movie that I loved. Let's see if you're going to say the same thing.
Well, my silence is the only part of this movie that I liked. My silence,
Oh,
because
so-
the whole movie sucked.
Oh, it sucked
from
bad.
beginning to end, from concept in that script, because King wrote the script. There is no story that correlates with this.
Yeah, I know he wrote the script.
Right? No. I mean, there was no story. He wrote the script cold. So there's no story like say, oh, it was based on the book. Oh, this Sleepwalkers is a short story from someone. There is no short story. There is nothing to coincide with this.
He just said, "Fuck it, go with
No,
it."
they said that he needed to write another script for, I don't remember if it was contract or what, but this is what he wrote.
The
So
shits.
obviously he can do books, but he can't do scripts.
And this was the shits. The one thing that I did like about the film,
Okay, all right.
the one thing and one thing only,
Mm-hmm.
was one of
Go ahead.
the death scenes that they had.
Yeah.
And that was death by an ear of corn. Where they actually stabbed somebody with an ear of corn.
Okay.
Now, weren't they supposed to be like cats or something?
Yeah, I think it was his take on the cat people.
Oh. Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Actually, there isn't one good thing that I could say for this film. And
Can anybody?
well, the only good thing that I can honestly say about it was members of the cast. Okay. Now, I'm going to read off 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to name off 4 people that were in this movie. Okay. And like I said, I didn't like this film, but this is the only highlight of it. Okay.
Is this ours?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Now these are the 4 people that I know
All right.
that are in it. Okay. John Landis,
Wow.
Joe Dante, Clive Barker, and Toby Hooper.
Yeah. Did they star in the movie?
No, they didn't.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They played forensic expert technicians and lab technicians. So all they had to do was have cameos. But that's the only bright side
Of the movie.
to this film.
Yeah.
And I think King was in it too. I think he played the caretaker in the cemetery. But it's his movie, so he's gonna
make a cameo.
He's
Yeah.
gonna pop up somewhere. But I think this is the only bright side, that you get to see these 4 people in the film. You know, obviously as actors, but it's the only bright side that I could find.
And obviously the movie sucked.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
I couldn't. I'll give it to you this way. Out of my Stephen King collection, I have that. Okay, but it's only because it's a Stephen King product.
Right, and it's part of the collection.
Part of the collection. Okay.
Absolutely.
I've had that. I don't know for how long. Ask me how many times I've watched it.
I can guess 0.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Because it was so bad.
I haven't. I want to say that I probably owned it for at least 4 years. I have not watched it in 4 years. That's how bad it is.
That's telling us a lot there, folks.
But it also shows how dedicated I am to the category for the collection. You know,
Oh, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
even
yeah,
take
yeah.
the bad stuff
With the good.
with the good.
Right, right. And I totally agree with you.
Okay, all right, back to you.
Thinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great concept,
Mm-hmm.
great story,
Mm-hmm.
but once you projected those images on the screen, it's like, oh my god.
I think it's one of those. It didn't transfer well
No.
because
Would you say it was bad casting? Or?
No, because I think I know I'm going to screw up the guy's name. Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Okay, him playing the gangsta,
Mm-hmm.
right, worked. But he's actually made a living out of portraying his Italian background in some of these roles over the years.
Right, so it's
But-
natural.
and it works. I think it really works. The casting of the other actors, I think it works. I think it's just not transferable from the page to the screen.
Right.
And I think we're going to find that a lot with a lot of our misses. It's a really good story, but it doesn't. It's a great story, but once you put it on film, it didn't work.
Right.
I just think that Thinner is one of those. I mean, the other bright point of this movie that I could honestly say is the fat suit. You actually believe this guy is fat
Right.
until you get to
the skinny part?
to the skinny part, and you see what actually he did to get his body to wear down, so it looked like he was skeletal.
Right.
And actually, another movie that they changed the ending.
Right. I mean, but honestly, back in the day,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about practical effects and
Oh
everything.
yeah,
Robert De Niro in Raging Bull put on how many pounds?
Oh yeah, no. But
And
this
then went thin, and
right.
all that.
And the thing is with this, so he didn't, so you don't see that in between part.
Right.
They kept him in a fat suit, and then just made the fat suit smaller. So behind it, he's always that thin.
Right.
So you never see that.
Right.
But no, I agree with you. It didn't transfer. I want to put that down to not transferring well.
Right. I mean, great story, shit on the screen.
Yeah, I've read the book twice.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah, I mean it.
Not great story.
Yeah,
Shitty
but
movie.
I mean, if you ever, here's one thing out of the story that should have been in the movie, which they do a little bit of, the pie
At the end? Yeah.
is supposed to be a strawberry rhubarb. So when you cut it open, it's all bloody red. So if you ever want to give a gift to a Stephen King fan, get him a strawberry rhubarb pie and tell him exactly what it is, and then just leave it on the counter. Guarantee you most of them would not eat it.
Words of wisdom from Vinnie the Vault. All right.
Okay, my next one?
Yep.
Okay, Cujo.
Okay. I actually liked Cujo.
All right. Cujo is okay, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. I didn't like the fact that they changed the ending. The ending was different.
With Kate.
Yes. The little boy dies in the end. And if anybody who watches the movie knows that he lives. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
They actually filmed the death scene, showed it to a test audience, and the audience didn't like it.
Because it was a kid dying in
Yeah,
the movie.
most likely. So they redid it.
But here's
with
the
him
thing.
living.
But here's the thing. I mean, if anybody had read the book, they'd be like, okay, the kid dies.
Yeah,
So then they see the kid die, and then they're like, oh, we don't like it because it's in the movie.
right. But the thing is the test audience obviously weren't fans that had read the book.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I've never been asked to be a part of a test audience, and that's
I would love to.
That was always my driving thing to move out to LA. Find out where they do the test screenings and things like that. I go, oh, I've got nothing to do today. I can watch as many films as you would like.
And I got this book.
True. But my other thing that was actually pointed out to me from a friend, because we had gone to see Cujo, I believe, when it was in the theater.
Right.
All right. He pointed out to me that there are certain scenes where the camera is on Cujo that you can see him wagging his tail to the trainer.
He's a fucking dog.
Right. But I've seen other dogs in other films that aren't wagging their tail to their trainer.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
So, and this also ties into your story about Nightwing, because this whole thing starts with a rabid bat.
Yeah, but I eventually admitted, eventually
Right,
that
but
movie scared me. But
right, no, but I'm saying this movie starts with a rabid bat that may have been from yours.
now in the book, it was a ghost, right?
No.
Wasn't it a ghost in a cave that
That bit the dog?
No. Wasn't it a ghost? Like Cujo went into a cave, and a ghost went into him.
No. It was rabies.
Okay.
It was rabies.
All right.
So you might be thinking of another story.
I might be.
If not, keep that in mind because we could sell that.
We could.
Ghost gets into a dog. Get him into a nice chihuahua.
Ghost dog.
Ghost dog. It'd be right up there with Ghost Dad.
Yeah, exactly,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
And that was a fucking thriller.
Oh yeah. It was a thriller just trying to get out of the theater. And no, I did not watch that film. I wouldn't have paid money to see that.
Neither did I, so we're not missing much. All right.
All right, back to you.
All right. Firestar.
What? I mean, it wasn't the greatest film, and I didn't dislike it. But what didn't you like about it?
But we're talking about, like, hit or misses here.
Yeah, but
And it just...
well, it made money. It must have made money. They kept making movies.
I mean, I'm sure it did definitely make money, and you have a young Drew Barrymore and everything.
And come on, what other movie in what other part of the world could you ever watch a movie with George C. Scott in a horror film? Well, let me take that back. I know he's done other horror films, but with an eye patch. Now, tell me that wasn't great.
Oh yeah, that's the reason I went to see the movie, because I mean that was just so great. Hey, George C. Scott with an eye patch on. All right, no, but I mean it was. I'm not saying it was horrible,
Okay.
but I'm not saying it was one of Stephen King's best
No.
books turned to film.
No.
It was,
Especially in some of the parts where you see the fireball going down, and you can actually see the string
yeah,
attached to the
exactly.
fireball.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, the special effects on that were
But
the
they were
shits.
again, they were practical effects, and if they did it today, that wouldn't be in the film.
No, because it'd all be CGI.
Right.
But I mean, I just couldn't get into it. It just didn't. It's one of those movies that didn't hold my attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's
And,
understandable.
So, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I enjoyed it.
Because
Because I liked the story. I really did.
yeah, good story.
I mean, basically, it was just a story of the father and the daughter trying to live out their life
right.
on the run. But one of the few things that I had a problem with was George C. Scott playing an Indian. I did not that I had a problem with it then. I look back at it and it's like, no, he even calls it out and he calls himself an Indian, an American Indian. Why couldn't they have found an actor who was an American Indian
to play
to play the part?
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, I understand that now it's politically correct to make sure that that role is filled by an American, a Native American. I'm sorry,
No,
but
it's all right.
I trying to get all these politically correct terms around I can't spit out enough of them to make it any good. So, if you made it now, obviously the role would be filled with somebody of Native American descent.
You would think.
You would think. But why couldn't they have done that then? There were tons of actors out there with American Indian descent,
Heritage,
that they could have easily found someone to play that role. They had, they had Martin Sheen in the film. They had Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
There's, what? Did you need another big name to go into that?
Apparently so.
I just think they could have done better with that one role. Not it wouldn't have made the whole movie better, but
Well, I mean, that's the thing with Hollywood. I mean, sometimes bad casting calls.
oh yeah, I mean they try to put as many big names into a film so you'll come to see it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Look, Charlton Heston as a Mexican. Come on.
How about Burt Reynolds as an American Indian?
Well, wasn't technically he really was half?
I didn't know if he was.
I think he was.
I just felt bad watching it. What's that? Navajo Joe?
Navajo Joe. But I mean, honestly, I think Burt Reynolds was. He did have some heritage.
Well, then I retract that statement.
Okay. No. That's fine.
It was just hard for me to watch.
That's fine.
Okay, my turn or yours? You went with Firestarter. That's
Yeah.
right. So it's my turn. Okay, Tommy Knockers.
Honestly, never seen it.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Well,
I'll be honest.
okay. Let me tell you. Tons of his stories have been turned to
Shit.
TV movies because this is a TV movie.
Okay.
Okay, and it was actually a TV miniseries, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't worth it.
I believe that.
Okay. It was a horrible, horrible story with Jimmy Smits.
Oh, I can't stand him. Sorry. I mean, nothing against the guy, but I mean,
Well, obviously, if you can't stand him, there's something against the guy.
I was just never a fan of his acting. And then once he started doing the Star Wars movies, I was like, oh, okay, all right, you know what?
Oh, so that drove you to not like the first three.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, out of with all of the different movies that were made for TV
Mm-hmm.
of King's works, this ranks right up there being bad.
Like, out of all the TV movies that were,
I'd say this was probably 3. If we were actually gonna rank them, this would be number 3.
okay, so if we were going to call this show the top shit, would that be?
Wait a second, of television, of Stephen King made for TV movies. Got to
Absolutely.
make sure that we label this correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
Would that be at the top of the heap?
No, I said it would be number 3.
Number 3. Oh, you
I
got
have
more.
I have others that are number 2 and 1.
Boy. All right.
Okay, you're next.
The Lawnmower Man.
Oh my God. Which to me, other than the title, doesn't deserve to even be on the list. But but this is your misses, so that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's a miss for me too.
Okay. But why did you not like it?
I didn't like it because
It had nothing to do with the book.
it had nothing to do with the story. It was it was a short story.
Right.
It's not a full book that fleshes out all these characters.
What was it, like 30 pages? Something like that?
If that. You know what? I'll tell you something. It was probably as short as 12 pages. You want to know what the story was really about? The guy called the Lawnmower Man. He'd have this lawnmower. You'd call him up. He'd come and do your lawn. Mow your lawn. All right. He would squat down behind the lawnmower
And eat the grass.
naked, and eat the grass as the lawnmower is mowing. He'd be squat down, running after it, eating the grass naked. Okay, that's the Lawnmower Man.
That's a porno.
Now, if you tell me that your movie has anything to do with that, other than the lawnmower, I don't think. To me, it doesn't deserve to be on the list. But like we said, they bought the story, they changed it, they did whatever they wanted to it to do this.
Oh, that's the thing.
So
That's the thing with the directors. You know, they'll change everything. They'll be like, okay, we got to fix this, fix that.
well, this was actually the studio, because the studio said, we own the property, we can do whatever we want. Have somebody rewrite this script.
And
This is what they came up with, and this is one of those movies that King had his name removed from.
I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame him either, because other than the title, it has nothing to do with the story.
Right. There's no...
And Pierce Brosnan, as a scientist, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
No. I didn't think he worked that great as James Bond either, but that's my opinion.
That's a different show for a different time.
Yep.
But no, Lawnmower Man is definitely the crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
The shits.
All right, my next one.
All right.
All right, my next one is Cat's Eye.
Okay.
All right, this basically came to the point of showing that anthology films just don't work.
Yeah.
In fact, the only other anthology movie that I really like from that era was Nightmares with Emilio Estevez.
Oh, yeah.
But that's something else. But this one, they had good story work
Mm-hmm.
that just didn't work for
The screen?
the screen. Well, I don't want to say that it doesn't work for the screen. I don't think it works for the big screen, because I enjoy these stories watching them on television.
Right.
But in the theater, I didn't like it. It just didn't draw my attention. And the little story piece with Drew Barrymore and the troll trying to take her breath and trying to call for help from a cat, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
It was
Stupid.
It was too much. It was no good for filler between the stories, and it didn't need to be there.
But it was almost like Hollywood was like, okay, well, what do you got next, King? And
Well,
let's just throw this out there.
Well, I think part of it was okay. Let's take some of his short stories. We can do an anthology. We just need to come up with something to tie them together, and that's where you get the cat,
right.
because the cat brings you to each story, up until the Drew Barrymore piece at the end.
Well, the only thing I really liked about the movie was the intro,
Okay.
where you saw Christine and
Mm-hmm.
all these other things that
Yep.
are interacted with Stephen King movies.
Right.
That was basically
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
but-
that was just homage, showing a nod to all these other things.
Yeah.
That we're not going to discuss in this movie, but these are the things that happened in the same universe
Right.
as these stories.
Right. But I totally agree.
Okay. So, all right. All right. I have a few more for Mrs. Do you have any more for Mrs.?
No. I
Oh.
think I missed out because a lot of those movies I didn't want to see, so I missed out.
Okay. Well, I do have some information about a few other things. So what I'll do is, with the rest of my misses list, I'll
Okay.
give you the big screen versions, and anything that was left from the TV, I'll move down because I have a small list of stuff that was done for television specifically.
All right.
Okay, so we'll start with the misses that were actually in the theater. Okay, Children of the Corn.
Didn't love it, didn't hate it.
Okay, I can say I enjoyed it a little, and that was about it. Children of the Corn again is a small story
Mm-hmm.
from Night Shift,
Right.
which didn't need a whole
Movie.
to show. Okay, what should have been done is, like an anthology thing for
Right.
television, or even at that time, because that's still the 80s, they could have done an anthology movie, I'm sure, where there were tons of other stories that hadn't been worked into the film yet.
But I mean, if it's a short story, why don't you make it into short films like
Right.
Creep Show?
Right. Well, but that's an anthology film.
Right.
But that's the whole idea: is you do these you do these short little films, you
Right.
put them all together, and you give them one title, and you put them all under that name. And that, like I said, at the 80s, it was already starting to wane down. But you save something for that, like that, for television. But what I will say about this is, in no shape or form does this story deserve all the sequels, all the remakes,
Oh no.
all the fanfare that has been made. I think, I honestly, I don't even know, but I want to say there's probably like 25 films that have been made off of this title.
I don't know about that many, but I
There
know
are- there are-
I know there's a bunch out
There
there.
are 8 alone off of this one storyline before they go into remakes and in other sequels.
That's crazy.
There's 8 right there. That's ridiculous.
And they weren't that good to begin with.
No.
So what the
so,
fuck?
So why? Okay, the first one I can understand. Okay, you made some money. Let's make a sequel. Make a sequel.
Which they always
Okay,
do.
right. That's fine. They do. They do it. But it was horrible. So why do another one? Oh, I've got a different script. I got another idea. Okay, let's try that one. Doesn't make any money. Well, we'll stop. I got a new idea. This is not Friday the 13th. We're not
But I mean,
trying to kill Jason and it keep coming back.
But I mean, doesn't that happen with every successful franchise?
Yes, successful. There, you got the word. This was not successful.
Right, I get that.
But obviously somebody's making money if they're still making movies.
But they're going to be like, oh, well, that was pretty good. Let's try this. Let's try that. And,
Listen,
a lot of times it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. But I'll tell you, I've watched probably about 12 of these sequels and remakes, okay? Out of all of that, I can only find one scene that I can honestly say I liked, and I would have liked to have seen it done in a different film. But I'm not gonna waste it for you because
No.
it's like Children of the Corn 7 or 8. So I'm
Okay.
not even going to talk about it.
Okay,
But
good.
I'm saying out of 12 films that I watched, there's one small scene that I would keep out of all that.
Okay, because, I thought you were trying to be funny and, we were going to go our perverted little ways.
No, not at all. It's
But
just-
no, you're being serious.
Yeah, I'm being
Okay.
serious. There's only one small thing, and
Okay.
and the whole scene probably lasts maybe 2 minutes.
And it's in the whole series.
No. Out of the whole series, there's this one scene, and it's either in Children of the Corn 7 or Children of the Corn 8.
Right.
I don't remember because I've only seen them once.
Okay.
Won't go back to it.
I don't blame you, because they weren't good.
No,
Okay.
they weren't. Okay, the next one for the big screen was Night Flyer.
Never seen it.
No?
No.
A vampire traveling around in his own Cessna.
Okay.
Lands at little mom and pop airports.
All right.
Keeps the dirt in the bay, so that's where he sleeps. And then at night he comes out and kills the people in the airport.
Oh my God. Just listening to that is giving me a headache.
But that's not the big part of the story.
Oh, there's more.
Yes,
This is great.
he
Go
has.
ahead.
Now this runs you back to Incredible Hulk. Okay, he has a reporter trailing him, and the reporter works for like a National Enquirer kind of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to track him down.
One of those shit papers you don't give a fuck about?
Now, again, a movie that is so mediocre I can't even shake my hand to it. That's so. Okay.
So you shake your hand to me.
So
Okay.
it's I'm just saying it's so
No, I get it.
bad.
I
It's
get
not
it.
okay. Again, a part in the book which really should have played well on the screen, and it doesn't. In the part of the book, the reporter finds the Cessna at this airport, right? Goes into the airport. Everybody is there dead. They're still warm. So he knows the vampire is still there. Okay? In the movie, he runs to the bathroom, starts throwing up in the toilet. Okay? Of course, the door closes. Now, underneath the stall, right, he hears the door open. So he freezes and looks underneath. He doesn't see anything. Because from underneath, he's looking at the mirror.
Okay.
He doesn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, he sees this urine stream hitting the porcelain in the urinal, right?
But there's
And
nobody pissing?
There's nobody there. And then somebody spits a wad of blood into the toilet, into the urinal. And you see all this, and nobody's there.
That's creepy.
In the book, it plays off great. In the movie, it just sucks.
Well, that's the thing, like a lot of times, it looks great on paper.
Yes, that's what we were saying before. It doesn't transfer well.
Right, exactly.
And unfortunately, you find that in a lot. I don't want to say every Stephen King has that, but a lot of them do. A lot of them do not
True.
transfer well. And the book is sensational, and the movie is like just mediocre.
But I think, honestly, the bottom line is, if you have like a really great director, you can really tell a really great story.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if King was on the set of most of these movies that were made.
I don't believe he was.
He probably wasn't, but he should have been. And if he had any input, because it's his story,
Right, yeah.
then they should have listened to him.
Yeah, but the thing is like most studios do, we buy the name, we buy the rights to the story. We don't want you anywhere near it.
Right.
So we'll do what we want. So, but that was Night Flyer. The last one for the big screen is Dreamcatcher. Morgan Freeman.
Once again,
Didn't see it.
one of those movies I didn't see because, like I said, and it's nothing against Stephen King, but some of these movies that have come out year after year after year, and you get disappointed with seeing one, you see another, and you're like, oh, this sucked, and I just kind of
Stayed away from it.
pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a great film. Morgan Freeman is wasted in it
How the fuck can you waste Morgan Freeman?
because he wasn't part of the. He was part of the cast, part of the storyline, but he wasn't part of the main cast.
Oh,
So, but needless to say, it's not worth watching.
okay.
It is just not enough there to keep you interested. And I think it's like 2.5 hours.
Right.
And it's just not enough there. I don't want to say all of Stephen King's sci-fi work books don't work, but those two definitely didn't. Tommyknockers and Dreamcatcher, because it's another alien film.
Right. Right.
It to me it just doesn't work, and it didn't work later on. Okay.
And I'll take your word for that.
All right. So now we're going to talk about some of the stuff that was done for television, miniseries, actual full series.
Okay.
Okay. Some of these you may have heard of. Some of them you may have seen. I don't know. But we'll start at the top of the list. We'll just go down one to one. They're not in any order, but they're mixed.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, some of them are hits. Some of them are still going, actually.
Oh, wow.
The only thing I did not add into this were movies or TV series that are running that I haven't seen yet.
All right.
Like Mr. Mercedes, which is based on a great trilogy of books that he did. I have yet to see it, and I won't comment on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the top of the list, Storm of the Century. Horrible film.
Horrible film.
I think it was a 2-part movie that they did for it, so it technically was a miniseries. It's just a I don't even know what good I could say about it. It's so bad. I mean, you give him this, technically a warlock who this town has to give life to as a sacrifice, and they're on an island that's just one road away from the mainland, and they get hit by a blizzard
What the
that
fuck?
totally traps these people, which is the storm of the century.
I get the title, I get the theme, but
It's horrible. It's not worth it. It's not.
it's not interesting me.
No, and I'm not gonna say another word about it because that's how bad it is.
All right,
Okay?
next.
Next. Okay, this one I know you don't like, and I know you've seen it.
Is this going to piss me off?
I have no idea, but probably will.
Okay.
The Langoliers.
Oh! Garbage.
Yes, garbage, garbage, garbage. Not only are the special effects horrible, but the acting is stiff.
Oh
all
my
across
God.
all across the board. It's like you could say this actor wasn't that good, or this actor was better than the rest of them, or these two actors worked real well together. Nobody in this movie worked. Nobody.
No, I mean, me and a girlfriend rented this movie, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this? This is shit." I couldn't get into it. I was just like, "Oh wow, this is bad."
Yeah. No, it is nothing.
I'm picking out the next movie. Fuck off.
It's another one of those I can't think of a good thing to say about.
No, horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Okay. Now, the next one I know you probably haven't seen, and again, it's not worth it.
All right.
Okay.
So chances are I haven't seen it.
Desperation.
No.
No. Horrible film. I wasn't a big fan of the book, but
You figured you give the movie a chance.
yeah, because I mean, sometimes I've read bad books before, and seen movies that they were made off of, and it's like, geez, I didn't see it that way.
Right.
That actually works. I wasn't visualizing it the correct way
Right.
in order to see it. But this movie doesn't do that. I just don't like it. Not at all.
Sucks.
Yes.
Sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a series that I do like,
Okay.
and you've probably never seen it, and the thing is, you probably never even heard of it. Golden Years.
David Bowie.
They used his song as the theme.
Okay.
Okay. Basically about a military establishment that's working with a geneticist to come up with a formula to basically stave off old age. So
Cool concept.
yeah, a fountain of youth kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the facility at the time, our main character is a janitor, and he's cleaning up in a hall
Right.
near one of the labs. Now there's an explosion in the lab. He gets covered in this residue that they were working on. Okay, people in the lab died. Okay, he lives. Check him out. He's okay. No, a couple of scrapes, bruises, things like that. Send him home. Okay. Over the next week, his wife notices him getting younger.
So everything exploded and
It got
went
on
onto
him.
him.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we have the main character, and he's living where he's technically, it starts out probably like he's 75. By the end of the series, he's in his 30s.
See, like shit like that, I like.
Yeah. And I thought it worked really well, and I enjoyed the series. And from what I remember reading at the time, it was supposed to be an ongoing series, a full-fledged season to season.
Yeah. So what happened?
The ratings dropped towards the end, so the studio said, "Nope, we'll just finish it off. We're all finished. Yep, got it. We have an ending for the film. Yep, okay, we're done. That's it. Ratings are low. We're not going any further."
I hate that shit.
Yep, and that's usually what happens when, unfortunately, when a good story gets turned into a bad show or a bad movie. You've got good material to begin with.
Right. But I mean,
Hang on, especially if it's a series. Hang on.
a lot of times, it's the audience that, sits there and says, "Oh, this is going to shit."
Right, but according to the studio, it was the audience, because if your ratings drop from, say, 500,000, just say 1 million people are watching your
Right.
show, okay, it's successful. If your show by the end of 13, 14 episodes drops down to 250,000, we can't do any more. They've already lost interest in this story. There's no reason to go any further. Let's just end it and call it quits.
Yeah, but I mean, also it's like, well, why don't you try something a little bit different, or try to make it more interesting, or
Right,
try to
but-
get the fans back.
Right, but how many times has that happened and just blown up in people's faces? That's where we come up with the term "jump the shark."
Yeah.
Okay, other shows have tried things like that. Some studios are like, "What can we do? Well, we could do this, could do that. How much money is that going to cost?"
Yeah.
It all runs down to money. You know it
It's
as well
all
as I
about
do.
money. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Another short mini series that they did, Rose Red, which was based on the story of, I can't remember her first name, but she was the woman who inherited the Winchester franchise gun
Not
merchandise.
not-
I can't even think of what I'm saying.
Not ringing a bell.
No, I understand, but you know what a Winchester rifle
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Okay, what do you call that? The whole business.
Yeah.
She inherited the whole thing, and she
I know the story you're talking about.
she built the mansion, and she believed that she was basically building the mansion to get rid of the money that she inherited, because the bloody was basically all blood money. So she would, every time the builders thought that it were done, she'd come up with some other change, another change, and they'd spent millions of dollars on this building, and there are staircases going nowhere. They go up to the ceiling, and that's it. There's doors that open up, but there's nothing behind it because it's a wall. There's all these changes that she had just to get rid of the money, and that's what Rose Red is partially based on.
Creepy.
Because this is the kind of house that they go into to see if it's haunted.
Creepy concept.
Creepy concept. It partially works, but it's not one of the best. But like I said, it does work.
Yeah.
On some levels.
Yeah, you're like, it's a creepy concept, but just there's something missing.
Yes, yeah, and unfortunately, I think part of that is what's missing is that it's made. They're doing some of these stories for TV, so the censorship is there. The studio's there, so we've all got to have our hands in the pie.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yep, well, this is what we want to do, and it's like, no, you can't do that. Okay, well, what if we did it this way? Okay, we'll accept that. No, over here, no, we can't do that. And they just go back and forth until you end up with something that
Is shit.
is shit. But like I said, you could watch this and really enjoy it, but it's not going to be one of those ones that if friends come over and go, "Hey, you want to see something good? I get this movie that we'll watch."
Yeah, it's not a blockbuster.
No,
So.
not at all. Okay. All right, the next thing is a series that I believe you may have heard of, but I'm not sure. It was a miniseries, The Stand.
Oh yeah, I've heard of The Stand.
Okay, have you seen The Stand?
Sure.
Okay, all right, no problem. So, this is a movie that many fans had been waiting years for.
Right.
And when they finally did it, they fucked it up.
Of course. Why wouldn't they fuck it up?
Uh,
It's only Stephen King's reputation on the line. Why not? Hey, let's fuck it up.
Unfortunately, he's even in it. He's got a small role in it, too. But
Why wouldn't he?
I think one of the hardest parts of watching this is seeing some of the actors in the roles that were picked for them. I think Molly Ringwald is not the right actress for that role. And I think
I agree.
I don't think it works.
I agree.
And I think you could say that about just almost every single one. Rob Lowe is completely lost in this film. Considering he walks around as a deaf mute is the only bright side of it. You don't hear his voice until the second half, or whatever half it is, until later on in the story. after he dies, and one of the characters sees him as an angel, he actually talks.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, Rob, you're getting paid.
Rob,
Shut up.
Rob, we got this great role for you. Oh yeah, what is it? As a deaf mute. What do I do? You just act. Don't do anything. Don't talk. Don't whisper. Can I, use eye movements? That's about the extent of it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, there are some upsides to it. There really are. But as a whole, I would love to have them, since they're doing such a great job at remaking it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see them tackle The Stand.
And I'm sure at some point they will, and I'm sure they'll tackle other projects.
Yeah.
That we've already talked about.
Yes, true, because I mean, any project that we talk about is completely open to interpretation by another director, by another studio.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, look at. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but I
no,
wanted
that's
to
fine.
get this thought out. Look at what happened with Dark Tower.
Right.
That had a perfect lay-in for an audience, for future movies, and they fucked it up.
Yeah. It happens.
And unfortunately, they tried to roll, I think, 2 stories into the one movie, which never works, and we know that.
Right.
They tried to give it an ending, which if you're trying to make a franchise, you don't give an ending.
No, you don't.
Not every movie is Star Wars.
Nope.
Now, on top of that, and I don't have any problem with changing actors or actors in wrong roles. And again, this is an actor in the wrong role. Matthew McConaughey as the devil, the demon, the man in black does not work.
He doesn't cut it.
Just because he wore black in those car commercials does not mean he can be the man in black in another movie. So, that being said,
All right.
to what I was getting to is they're now turning that into a TV series, which
Yeah.
is where it probably should be.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Because if they do the same thing that Amazon is doing with the Tom Clancy books, because they're doing Jack Ryan. This past season that they did was a setup to give you who Jack Ryan is, where he came from, and all the backstory. So now when you go into the next season,
You know what the fuck's happening.
you have no problem with backstory. Okay? Now, what they're planning and doing, from what I heard, each season is going to be one of the Jack Ryan books. So Hunt for Red October is going to be a whole season.
Oh, cool.
So Patriot Games will be a whole season. It'll be that kind of thing. So you'll actually have, I think it's 8 episodes. You'll have 8 episodes. You'll have 8 hours to pull this whole story together instead of trying to do it in an hour and a half. This, considering the Dark Tower story, has 8 books, I believe.
Something
It's
like
either
that.
7 or 8, and you could do that with this series,
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
and I think it would work great.
Absolutely.
All right, but that's neither here nor there right now, because as far as I know, they haven't even started production, but they may have.
They might.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about 2 series that actually have ended, and I don't know if you know anything about them. It's Haven, okay, and Under the Dome.
I mean, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Never watched them.
Well worth both of them. Haven lasted, I believe, 5 seasons or 6 seasons. And it starts out with the story of the Colorado Kid, which is a Stephen King book. And they just basically talk about that. You drag that story in, and then there's all kinds of mystical things, paranormal, and all kinds of Stephen King references throughout the entire series.
Okay.
And it's really, really good.
Okay.
Takes a little bit to get started, but once if you can get through the first 4 episodes, you should be hooked.
Okay.
And then, like I said, 5 or 6 seasons, it's really worth it.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. Take
Okay.
your word for it.
The other one is Under the Dome, which lasted 2 seasons, but was supposed to be more. It's another one of another story in filming that fell into the golden years problem. Had great. It started out as a 13-episode miniseries, It was only supposed to be 13 episodes. But the ratings were so astronomical. They said, "Can we do more? We'll wrap up we'll redo the 12th and 13th episode, so you actually wrap it up on a cliffhanger, and we'll do another season."
Money, 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 money.
Yep. So King, who was a part of the writing staff for this, said, "No problem, we can do that." So they rewrote a couple of episodes, so you end on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
Did that. Everybody waited for the second season. Started the second season basically right where the 13th episode ended. You started it, and you know what happened? The ratings went down.
So it shit the bed.
So what they did was I don't remember how many episodes they filmed. I want to say another 13. They did another 13 episodes, and that was it.
And they were like, "Fuck it."
Yep. As soon as it started, because they had it at the peak.
No.
They should have left it there.
And it started dwindling.
And so, yeah, and then it started dwindling after that. And then it's like, well, what are we going to do? Well, you don't do nothing. Just let it go. I would rather have seen them try to do a sequel to that storyline than to actually trying to continue the storyline.
Yeah, but a lot of producers don't even want to mess with that.
No.
They're just like, this is going downhill.
Yeah, no, true. I understand. The studio's looking for something that they can actually make more money on.
Right.
But it just doesn't work that way. There's less people. Okay. I've got one here that I know the show is still running, and you've probably never heard of it. It's called Castle Rock.
I've heard of Castle Rock.
Okay, well, it's basically all about the town Castle Rock, with all the weirdness of Stephen King. It's basically Twin Peaks now.
Right.
Okay, I've watched the first 6 episodes, I believe. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Worth watching.
It's well worth watching. What I like about it, which I think is in some ways funny as hell, is Sissy Spacek has a role in this film.
Get the fuck out.
Obviously not as Carrie,
Right.
but Sissy Spacek is one of the stars, which I think is funny as hell.
That's pretty cool.
So it's if you can find it, it's well worth watching.
Considering she started out with King.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is a
And
fucking riot.
I think that's Hulu that runs that. So
I'll look it up.
yeah, but it's well worth the try. It's well worth the try to watch it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Now I've got 2 more. Well, actually 3 more. One I know you're not going to like because you didn't like the movie, so you're not going to like the television version that they're trying to do, The Mist. So instead of trying to compact it into a 2-hour movie, it's now a series.
Oh, fuck off.
I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Oh. I didn't think it would.
It doesn't work
Because the movie sucked.
Right. Okay, now we're gonna end this up on a good note. So I'm gonna do the bad one first, and then the good one.
Well, let's hope.
Okay.
All right.
All right. You've never heard of Kingdom Hospital?
No.
Okay, this is a story, basically what he wrote after his car accident, after he got hit by the van.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, while in the hospital, he basically fleshed out this story. Now, this story is partially based on, I believe, a Swedish film series or film called Kingdom.
All right.
So it's because it's so close to that, you have to sort of look at them at the same time. So it's almost like a remake. But a lot of his experience went into this, of being in bed all that time, all this thing. So it's not exactly Gone with the Wind, okay? But it's enjoyable to watch.
Going with the King.
Gone with the King. There you go.
All right.
Okay. All right. The last one for this whole thing is Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Heard of that.
Okay, which was a miniseries that was done on, I want to say, TBS.
Mm-hmm.
They took 8 short stories from King's book, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and turned them into short films. And they work wonderfully.
Do they?
I'm telling you, it's one of those things that you could actually...
Because I've never actually seen them.
No, really?
Oh, honestly, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this.
Because, I mean, just watching, some of the Stephen King movies, and like I said, nothing against him, but some of the directors and whatnot, the cast members, and just watching some of these movies that have failed you from time and time again, I just kind of gave up on the guy.
Yeah, you pass him by because it's like, oh, Stephen King's the name. It's going to be one of those crap things.
Yeah,
exactly. It's going to be Sleepwalkers all over again. So
Yeah, exactly.
What's the
Exactly.
Well, that's why I say that these anthology films,
Yeah.
and these films that should be short stories and short films work better on the television. And this miniseries actually proves the point, because every single one of these is outstanding in stories. Actually, there's two that really come to mind and I really love. One is Autopsy Room 4.
Ooh, that sounds gory.
Yeah, well, it's basically a guy who gets, I want to say, hit by lightning while he's playing golf.
Caddyshack.
Right. Well, they believe he's dead. They believe he's dead. They send him to the morgue.
Okay.
Okay. He's still alive. He can't move a muscle. He can't move his eyes. He can't say anything, but he can hear. And he hears them talking about how the fact that he died on the golf course and all this. Okay, do you want to cut him first, or why don't you cut him? I cut the last one, and they're preparing to do the autopsy, and he's alive, but he can't let them. He can't tell them.
Oh, yuck.
It's an outstanding piece, and one of the greatest things about it
Blah.
is that there's all these different points where something will happen, where it's like they're almost about to cut him, bringing the scalpel right down to his chest, and then the phone rings. So it's like, oh my God, clamp the scalpel on the table, and then walk over to answer the phone. And it's like, oh my God, I got another reprieve. Okay, gotta move, gotta try to do something. Try to move your eyes.
Wake up, damn it!
Okay, the other one, which the greatest thing about this piece is that not a word is spoken the entire show.
All right.
It's called Battleground. And it's basically a guy who gets this box of army men. The little green army guys.
Yeah, little toys.
Yeah, the little toys. And this is one of the big boxes, the one that came with the tanks and the ships and all this, right? Well, that's what he gets. First, it comes anonymously. He opens it up, starts taking the things out. Well, what happens is all of these things are alive. And the tanks really work. Then you have this entire army with weapons chasing him around the apartment.
Chasing him around the
Oh
apartment?
yeah, because the tanks move, they've got planes, they've got all these things. Everything an army would have.
Right.
This box, it comes in this box. So they start shooting him and all
So
this
now it's
stuff.
all in his apartment.
It's all in his apartment. It has basically become a war zone.
That's creepy.
Okay, it gets to the point where he turns the tide, where he starts to get the upper hand of it, right? But the only problem is when he finally gets the upper hand, he gets to the box. And he looks at the box, and it lists on the lid of the box everything that comes with the set, including a nuclear bomb.
Oh my God.
And that's the last of the scene, and it blows up, and that's the end of the story.
So he nukes his apartment.
No, he doesn't. The soldiers do.
Oh, Jesus. That reminds me of like Trilogy of Terror. That's, wow.
Is it? But that's a great story. And doing it there,
That
and like
is
I said,
good.
there's no voices, no dialogue at all. And I just think that works wonderfully. And if I'm not mistaken, that's William Hurt that plays the role of the guy in the apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great actor.
Oh, wonderful actor.
Brilliant.
I can't wait actually until we get into some of his stuff.
Which we will.
Yep, we will. Because actually, we're gonna change the format a little bit on the next show. The next show is going to actually be reviews and discussions about the films.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and we're going to be doing that, and we're gonna bring in some new stuff, things that from that point on we're gonna actually start working with. Obviously not machines or anything like that, but the way we handle the show.
Or anything that's going to blow up the apartment or anything?
No, nothing that'll blow up the apartment because, hell, I'm still paying rent.
Yeah, well, hey. And I'm just a guest.
Yeah.
So,
So no nuclear bombs from you.
good.
There you go. All right, so I think that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you have been listening to the MMO Movie Markout Podcast Show. And I'm Popcorn Pete, as always, with my partner in crime.
Vinnie the Vault.
And yeah, we had a lot of fun discussing the Stephen King hit or miss films. But we will see you very shortly. And take care, and we'll see you at the movies.
Have fun.
What was this two shit about?
Hey, Cunningham! Is that you, Cunningham? Hey, you ain't mad, are you?
Oh man, there is nothing finer than being behind the wheel of your own car. Except maybe for pussy.